Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Rose to Ceilings podcast. Today we have a special guest with us. Aubrey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Aubrey. I'm 24 years old. I live in San Diego. And about 4.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with a rare disease called common variable immunodeficiency. And since then, I've gone through a lot of crazy things, a lot of ups and downs. But about a year and a half ago, I started my own website and started sharing about my journey with the disease and started connecting with other people online, also doing some social media and some speaking. And so I'm super excited to be here today and share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we're really excited too. If you don't mind me asking, could you talk a little bit about what CDIV is?
Yeah, so basically, CVID is a type of primary immunodeficiency. So, PI, primary immunodeficiency, there's over 450 types. So, basically, what it is that your immune system is either missing part of it or just missing completely. And so, you can't fight off illnesses, diseases, anything that comes your way. You don't have the normal amount of antibodies to fight it off. And so a lot of people end up really sick for years and have no idea what's going on, and they're searching for answers, and then they finally come to this diagnosis. Or I mean, some people just become really sick really fast, which is more so what happened to me. But yeah, so basically the way it's treated usually is immunoglobulin replacement therapy, which when people donate plasma, it gets sent to our houses, and then we infuse that, and it kind of, I like to say, it creates like a stand-in immune system because antibodies replace like what's not there. So essentially that's what it is. CVID also can put you at risk for like autoimmune diseases and cancers and things like that too.
And you said you created the website to talk about the illness. Could you maybe get into a little bit why you decided to do a website? Like, were you already into website design?
Yeah, so I was working at a tech startup out here, and I worked with people that owned websites, but I knew like nothing about it. And I wasn't really that technically savvy. But basically, the startup that I worked for, we did like advertising on those websites. So I learned a lot about the back end, and I learned a lot about like WordPress. And so basically, I decided that I wanted to see more about what the other side of it was like. So, yeah, I just kind of like was like, okay, I'm just gonna go on GoDaddy and buy a domain that's cheap. So I kind of just like made it up and then just started learning WordPress from there. And so at the beginning, I knew nothing. Like my website looked terrible, and so I didn't. I just knew that I liked to write, and I wanted somewhere to write. And I didn't even know if like anyone would even read it. I wasn't even like I had no plan, but obviously, it worked out well, and like I'm so happy I did it.
hmm And at the beginning, you did mention how you got your diagnosis. I think it was like first year of college. Was that right? Or like very near that, like beginning of university. How did that come to you? Like, how were you able to like, first of all, cope with that, and also like keep moving on with your life?
Yeah, so yeah, my about the winter break of my freshman year. So I was living in the dorms. I came back from winter break and I had been kind of sick, and my doctor, or I went to like an urgent care, and they said that I maybe had mono, or it seemed like I had mono. I tested for that. I didn't have mono. And then I just got a series of a million infections like strep, sinus infections, things like that for like 6 months. And so the whole rest of my freshman year, I was incredibly sick. And I think that was really hard and really isolating because, like, I wanted to keep up with everyone and I'm a pretty social person. So I wanted to go to everything, but like, I felt like crap all the time. And so it kind of was just like hard. And so then in the summer after my freshman year is when I started seeking answers because I thought this was like normal for some reason. And so then that's when I was diagnosed, and I was told that I'd have to get treatment for the rest of my life. And I would never went to the doctor ever before this. I was never sick. I didn't like going to the doctor, like anything like that. And so suddenly hearing that I have to do this forever, it was like terrible. Like it was just surprising, and it made me feel really weird. Like I almost started to feel like jealous of other people my age because like I was 19 and like you're supposed to be healthy and like college is the best time of your life apparently, and I was like having the worst time of my life. And so I mean I went back. I was living in the sorority house. I already decided I was doing that. So I was living with 50 girls, and I was going to have to figure out how to give myself these infusions, like figure out how to relax, like, and I knew that that was going to be crazy, but I kind of just pushed through, and I was determined to like not give up my life. Like I was determined to like finish school and like maintain my friends and do all the things that I would have done before. It was hard, but I'm glad that I did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really inspiring to hear. How are you with that? Like getting your degree, keeping out your social life?
Yeah, so I ended up graduating in 4 years, which is great. Yeah, I graduated like I can't, it was a year and a half ago, but I can't even remember what it's called. Like cum laude or whatever. Which was great. Because there was times when it got really hard, even after the diagnosis. I kept getting bad blood test results. My doctor would say, oh, like you could possibly have cancer or something. Like I would randomly hear news like this, and it was just always a maybe, like something else might be happening. And I was always dealing with like biopsies. I had like surgeries, like all this crazy stuff. And there was definitely a time, and it was during COVID, because COVID happened my sophomore year of college. So I was like, okay, like, should I just ditch this, like, and leave and just like not do this? But I'm so glad I did. Like there was definitely times that it was hard, but I think like I don't know. I My advice to my younger self now at this age, I would say like I wish I would have maybe like communicated about it more, like to professors or to like I had a lot of jobs. Like I think I had a hard time communicating about it, so I would just like push myself really hard, and then I would be like really tired and burnt out. So I don't suggest that. But I still finished school and everything ended up fine. So I mean, it worked out.
It's really amazing to me that you're able to persevere through all the challenges you were facing and still finish school. Do you have any tips on the mindset to be able to persevere through that?
Yeah, I would say definitely like your mind can control like a lot of your reality, which and people say that all the time, and sometimes it just sounds like total bogus. But it's really true of like if you believe that you can't do something, then like you can't do it. And obviously there's actual like limitations at some point. Like, I wanted to go like to Spain after I graduated, and my doctor was like, no, we can't get the plasma over there. Like, okay, I'll accept that. But majority of things, I think a lot of it is just like the belief that you can do it, and like not letting your thoughts stop you, because your thought, like your thinking just starts as a thought. So like if it goes past that, like that's your decision. We often can't control the first thought that comes to our head. Like I can be like, oh, I hate my life. Like I have the worst life ever. Like I can think that, but then it's like, what do I do after that? Like, and basically also focusing on what you can control. Like there's so many things that you can't control. And if you spend all your time like focusing on, I wish this wasn't happening to me. This is so unfair. Like you'll, you'll just waste your time because you can't change it. So I think for me, it was focusing on like, okay, like I am deciding to stay in school. I'm deciding to try hard and still pursue my interests. Like I stayed in my sorority. I like still tried to have this life. I still traveled when I could. Um and so yeah, it's definitely hard because I spent like a long time being really anxious, and looking back, I wish I didn't waste that much time like just worrying. And a lot of things I worried about never happened. Like I would get a biopsy and I'd be like, I'm gonna be told like I'm dying. Like that didn't happen. I thought that would happen and wasted my energy and like everything on that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I know, like, we've had a lot of people mention how mindset is everything, but like, I think your story here, it shows that it applies because at some point, you just have to take what you're given. Like at some point, people say there's nothing you can do about it, so why waste your time worrying about it? I feel like that's what you're really emphasizing.
Yeah.
I want to ask a little bit more about, is this the kind of stuff you talk about on your website? Like, is this the kind of stuff you write about?
Yeah. So when I first started it, I didn't quite know where I was going. I kind of also wanted to raise awareness for CVID because I'd never heard of it. And a lot of people that get diagnosed have never heard of it. And it's just like very weird and scary. And so I started writing about my journey. And then I kind of got to a point where I wanted to be more focused like on the reader and be more applicable to like people's lives. So I start kind of writing almost like, yeah, like self help, like mindset focused articles too. Especially for people that are earlier in their journey because you're just in a way different place when like you first find out about something versus when you have like hindsight down the road. So yeah, I write a lot of it is centered around chronic illness, but some of it is also about like, I've written about like how gratitude can affect your life or, or just like more like lighthearted things like how to figure out where to move after you graduate college, like things like that too. So I like to do a wide range and also like I like to show that my life didn't end when I got the diagnosis. So like I do like travel articles and I've had a lot of good feedback from those from people saying like, "Oh, like I just got diagnosed," or like my daughter just got diagnosed, and, like I thought her life was over and then I saw you doing all these things and I realized like she can do that too. And so I think it's given people a lot of hope that like it's not over. And I didn't know anyone with the disease when I first got diagnosed. I didn't even meet anyone really until I started my website. So like I was all alone. Like I didn't know what the guidelines like how is everybody else doing with this? Like that's kind of what you want to know. So yeah, that's kind of what I talk about. I've gone to a lot of different things because, mental health goes like right alongside like having a low immune system. People also fight like depression. So I've talked about that a little bit too.
So a
I
lot
think
of it
that's
is
so
like,
great that you even got feedback from your readers about it too, just to
mhm.
know that you're making that difference. And I'm curious, how did you reach out to them? Like, how did they find you? Do you know?
Sometimes I don't know. But well, so yeah, I have like Google Analytics. So sometimes I can see like I don't sadly, I don't get a lot of search traffic, which is funny because like that's something that we worked on when I worked in the industry. But I get a lot from like social media more so, like Pinterest is a really big one, I would say. And then some people I actually don't know. Maybe it is from just searching like CVID, or maybe people get diagnosed and they're just like, I think a lot of times right after diagnosis, you're just like searching around everything. So sometimes I actually don't know. But I decided to actually start an Instagram account like for the actual website because like my personal account didn't have a lot of stuff about it. It was just kind of like me and I didn't really put that much into it. So first people started reaching out on my personal like Instagram. It was a lot of there were a few like college girls with like, the exact same story. Like same timelines, same struggles, like all these things. So we started talking and then I put like my email on my website and then I try to put like everything on my website like Instagram, Pinterest, all that, so that people can do that too. So yeah, I've gotten some emails, but I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I didn't think anyone would read this. So like when the first couple people reached out to me, I was like literally the most excited I've ever been. Like every time someone says anything, it makes me so happy because I I wish I would have like had someone to like talk to at the time, and it still helps. Like still am battling with this, so it's like really good to talk to other people that are like on the same journey.
Mm. So a lot of it is really just like fostering that community and like support system almost, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. And like I'm thinking about trying to move more that direction too. I know that there's already some things in place, like the Immune Deficiency Foundation. They have like a lot of social media stuff. They have forums, and then there is a Facebook group for people with CVID, and then we have like a young adults group. So there already kind of are groups in place, but I have like wanted to like see what it would be like to make it more of a community. Like maybe Instagram is like the place for that, or maybe doing more like interactive posts where people can like talk in the comments. And then I also started making like TikTok videos. I was like really scared of like making videos, but that's a really good place to talk to people too, because like people comment and you can go back and forth. So that's been kind of fun. But yeah, I definitely want to continue to more so take it that direction.
So
Yeah,
we're
I
in like
think
the editing work in progress phase right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to move forward. Like I started the website, I think a year and a half ago.
Mm.
So for the first 6 months, I just had no idea what I was doing, and I hardly did any like social media. And then I was like, I started doing Canva, and I love Canva. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm really gonna put in like this work into this. So I started like going off on like the pins, like Pinterest is huge with like bloggers and things like that. So I started like really going hard with that. And so then I got kind of the idea. I was like, how do I get the word out about like the disease and all this? And so then that's when I started going on podcasts. So like I went on my first one last June. And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. So it's like crazy because it's like feels like it's been a long time, but also feels like it hasn't. And there's still like so many things that I want to do. I don't know. It's hard to know like where to go sometimes.
Yeah,
yeah,
we feel
for
that
sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that
I bet you guys definitely feel that way. Like there's so much you can do, so it's hard to know like where to go.
mhm. And for our podcast specifically too, we have an audience of teen girls, and oftentimes that's the time where you're trying to explore, and sometimes you're into obstacles or not sure what to do. So I'm wondering if you have any advice to that.
Like for teenagers or teenage girls.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I have I have a lot. It's weird to think about myself. Wait, how old are you guys? I want to ask.
15.
15.
15?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, and you have that's crazy. Well, congrats to you guys for doing this much. When I feel like when I was a teenager, I was very anxious, as I feel like a lot of teenage girls are, because there's a lot of expectations. I feel like, like you're changing, you're growing up. There's a lot of, I felt like a lot of like societal expectations. Like it's just hard. And so I feel like definitely what I would suggest is like don't be afraid to like do what makes you happy,
Mhm.
and don't fear like others' judgment. I feel like a lot of what I all I did in that like age was like try to make everyone happy and try to make everyone like me, and like if I felt like someone didn't like what I was doing, like I was really really anxious about it. And even now like that was an obstacle to get through when I started my website. I was like, what if people like read this and think, who does this girl think she is? Like, and so like everybody kind of has that thought when they put themselves out there. Um, but yeah, it's like if you like something or you want to try something new, like just do it and like try not to think about like what other people would say. And also like I realized too, like not everybody is as concerned with me as I think they are. Like everybody is doing their own thing. Like everybody's struggling with something. Everybody has passions, things that they want to do. So like it's okay for me to like focus on what I like. And so I think that I've really like learned that in these past couple of years doing this, because for me it was like, okay, like I went to high school, I'm gonna go to college. What am I gonna do now? So it's like it's pretty crazy, but yeah, just like and like just like I said, your mind is like the forefront of your actions. So like if you think terribly like about yourself, it'll just only hurt you, because that's all I did in high school is like think just bad things about myself, and it just wasn't true. So like I know it's hard not to, and especially as a woman, because it's like there's like beauty standards that we feel like we need to meet, or, like people with, I need to be successful, like I need to prove myself to people. Like, I think that's something that's a struggle, but it's like if you believe that like you can be successful and like you believe good things about yourself, it definitely will help.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
Definitely
thanks.
lots of takeaways there for us and our audience. Anything else other than your website you want to promote, share, get out there?
Um, I guess basically just my website, and then like all my um, I just do like social media with all those. So like I just started making TikTok videos, like TikTok, Instagram. That's where I talk a lot about plasma donation. So yeah, basically like you can get paid to donate plasma at places like CSL Plasma, BioLife, like places like that. So I kind of make like some videos and stuff about that too. Um, yeah, it's basically, but I mainly do it on Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome. We'll check it out. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
yeah, you're welcome. Do you have any other questions for me?
Any last thing you'd want to say throughout
Oh, no, I'm good.
there?
Thank you so much, Aubrey.
All right, thank you.